Okay, so let us start with child developmental theories. So let's start with a very basic aspect of what we will be covering in this particular topic. So we'll be understanding about what development is, what child development is, what is the difference between growth and development, and what are the different theories in advancement. So there are two to three, I think there are four theories that we'll be discussing in our session today. So as we go ahead, I'll keep on explaining the different theoretical viewpoints to you. The recording and the presentation would be available to you, so you don't need to click pictures or you don't need to pen down everything. Of course, if you want to take certain notes, go ahead, but you will have this presentation and you will have the recording of the session with you even after the session. So just make sure that you're understanding, okay, whatever I'm trying to explain you. Okay, so tell me, what do you understand by child development? Any one of you? What is child development according to you?
Ma'am, may I?
Yes.
According to me, in child development, what happens when a baby is born, how does it performs every single task, like from walking to its hand movements, like motor skill development, that is child development.
Okay. So when we good, Jivika. So when we talk about child development, it includes changes that go in the child over time. And these changes that are happening, they follow a particular pattern from less complex to more greater complexes that keep on happening. So there are periods of development that we will be discussing. So different periods and these terms are very important. Whenever we are working with children, it is very important to know what exact terms are. So there are different terms like prenatal, infancy, early childhood, middle childhood, adolescence. So we need to understand with respect to what ages we are talking about. Okay, so we cannot use these terms in a different way. So coming to the very initial period of child development, which is prenatal period, that we call as from conception till the time of birth. All the time when the child is in the womb, that is known as prenatal period. Then infancy, from birth to 2 years, we call them infants, and till 2 years we call them toddlers. Okay, so that's a toddler period. You know why we call it toddlers? Because they're just learning to walk and they're toddling around, so that's why we call them toddlers. So that's from till 2 years of age, we call them toddlers. Then there's early childhood, that is from 2 to 6 years of age. Then there's middle childhood, from 7 years to 12 years of age, that is middle childhood years. And from 12 or 13 years, we call it adolescent period. Okay, usually what we are saying is nowadays adolescence is stepping much earlier in children, right? With girls becoming adolescents at the age of 10 and 11 years. That is, so earlier it was 12 or 13 years when the hormonal changes, the physical changes were happening in children. But now, because of all the vast knowledge and with the growth of technology and so much of information that's being available to children, so the development is happening at an earlier age. So adolescence is usually stepping between 10 to 11 years nowadays. But again, what up till now we've been studying is 12 to 13 years is when adolescence comes into pictures, or adolescence we also call as teenage years. Okay, so once we go ahead with child development, there's a very important term that we say growth. And growth and development, these are very two different terms that need to be understood. We often mistake growth and development to be same, but these are two different terms that have completely different meanings. So any one of you who wants to go ahead and tell us, maybe it doesn't have to be the fixed bookish definition, no, but just what do you feel is the difference between growth and what is development?
May I?
Yes.
growth is growing in height or putting on weight, like that, as the age progresses. Development is how the mental ability grows. That is like a 1-year-old child, how the brain has developed according to the milestone, and how a 3-year-old should behave according to the 3-year-old, like that. That is called as the development, whether the mind development has taken place correctly.
Okay, so you're saying growth is about the height, increase in height, right? Development is about the brain development.
Yes.
Okay, anybody else?
May I?
Yes.
According to me, growth is about physical growth, that is growing your body aspects, and development is overall development. It might be emotional, your physical development.
Okay, good. Anybody else? Okay, so as both of them said, when we talk about growth is usually one-dimensional. It's where in one domain, where I'm talking about increase in the size or increase in the organ or increase in the part of a body. So that's a growth. But when I talk about development, I am involving the three domains. It is also the physical development, it is also the cognitive development, and it is also the social or emotional development when we talk about. Just a child is increasing in size, that is, he's growing. But whether the child, he's 9 years, his height is increased, but is the brain development as per the 9-year-old? The hands have increased as per the 9-year-old, but have the fine motor skills come as per the 9-year-old? Is a development, is a motor development. हाथ का साइज बढ़ जाना is a growth, but क्या हाथ में ये वो पेन अच्छे से पकड़ पा रहा है, is able to hold this pen right as per the 9-year-old, is what we call as development. So development is just not physical development or cognitive development. Development as a whole, whether he is increasing in body size, whether there is motor development also happening, whether the development of thoughts are also happening, or is he still stuck to the thoughts as a 2-year-old kid, means cognitive development did not happen. Memory development, attention development happened or not. So wherever we use the word cognitive, it means thinking patterns. Okay, so then this is cognitive development or brain development. Then social emotional domain is my social understanding. Am I able to understand other people's emotion or not? Am I able to express my emotion or not? Am I able to regulate my emotions or not? A 2-year-old child, he might, if he wants an ice cream and the parents are not agreeing, he might just lie down on the floor and create a lot of hue and cry about the situation, right? Because he wants an ice cream. But the same thing being done by a 12-year-old is not a healthy sign, right? For a 2-year-old, maybe you might still see it and you might ignore it, right? But if it's done by a 12-year-old on a general basis, then means he lacks that self-regulation. He lacks that that temperamental patterns in which he can regulate his own emotional states. So all this we call as social or emotional development. So this also has to be inclined in my age pattern with my chronological age or my biological age and with my mental age. So this is what we call as overall development. Yes, Anjali, you have some doubt?
Ma'am, I want to add one more point to this. I want to clarify that if I am right or wrong. Growth is a natural process. Every child is going to grow in one or the other way. But development depends on the surroundings of the family surroundings available to the child. So
True.
this is the difference.
Very true. Very true.
Okay.
Absolutely. Growth will happen, but what sort of a development is a person experiencing will depend upon the immediate environment.